YouTube? Suboxone withdrawal, day 22. Okay, so today was kind of a rough day. This morning I got up and I forgot that I had to go to court for driving without a license, which is not a good thing. So anyway, I was fine up until I realized that I had like 3 hours before I had to be there, and of course, that stressed me out a little bit, but I got through it, no big deal. I got fined $500. They're going to let me make payments, so that's a good thing. Anyway, so I kind of want to touch on something today. I've been watching a lot of the Suboxone withdrawal videos from a lot of different people, and one of the things that I see a lot of times is people say that is basically that, I have this wrong with me or I have that wrong with me. And it's a perfectly logical, it's a perfectly rational feeling that you might actually have these things. And I get that. But what I don't think a lot of people understand is that in our addiction, look, I understand that Suboxone seems like a very harmless drug, and it has given a lot of us our lives back. It gave us time where we weren't up and down so much, chasing the dragon, constantly trying to feel like we needed to get our next fix. So in that regard, I see it as being a very beneficial drug. My experience is that this drug should always be a short-term drug. It's just from my own personal experience, I realized quickly that it was not something that I wanted to stay on for a very long time. So anyway, when you drop it, when you go from like a large milligram all of a sudden down to I went down to 3 milligrams from 8 real fast. And I had a lot of the traditional symptoms. I was really cold. I felt really lethargic, and I was in the middle of a move, so it didn't really help. And I felt very agitated. I felt a lot of rage. But I knew that it was just part of this unfortunate process. So I kept trying to dismiss my fears. My initial knee-jerk reaction was to want to go to a doctor and to have them do a full workup, which, I'm not going to say is not probably a good idea. It's a good idea because we have abused our bodies, and you can try to get healthy and do all these great things, and Suboxone does allow for a lot of those things, but guys, it's eating you from the inside out. For me, it was destroying my mental capacity to understand anything beyond myself. It took away my ability to function like a normal human being, to process information the way that I am designed to process that information. Now, one thing that I've learned going through all of this is that your hypothalamus has a lot to do with why we are so cold. I want you guys to understand that we didn't just suppress our CNS, but we also ended up suppressing our ENS system, okay? I believe it's called your enterical nervous system or something like that, but it is part of your central nervous system. And you also depressed your hippocampus, which controls a lot of things, and you also suppressed your hypothalamus. And remember, guys, your hypothalamus is what's in control of your ability to feel thirsty, your ability to regulate your internal body temperature, and again, your mind's tricking you. You're not quite chemically in a place that is homeostatic. It robs us of the necessary chemicals that we need, such as dopamine, and it absolutely ups our adrenaline, which is why we feel all of that nervous energy. We just want to crawl out of our skin. Guys, the lower you drop it, the harder it's going to be. This is why I dropped from 8 milligrams down to 3 milligrams, and then within a week I dropped down to 2 milligrams. Within 5 days I dropped down to 1 milligram, and then, like I said in earlier videos, I stayed on 0.5 milligrams for 2 days. I still had 1.5 milligrams left, roughly thereabouts, and I didn't take them. The next day I woke up, I was so disgusted with the condition of my mental state of mind. I was not right in my head. I was so desperate, and I said, you know what, I can either take those little pieces, which is what I had intended on doing, is just continuing to break the 5.5 milligrams up over a period of time, but all I was doing was prolonging the inevitable misery. Nobody ever said this is going to be easy. I was looking up the videos the same reason everybody else was looking up the videos, because you want information. You want to know how you can make the sickness go away. Well, you're not going to make all of it go away. You're going to be able to lessen some of the symptoms. You're going to be able to make yourself a little more comfortable if you make a plan. I walked really far every day for a very long time before I made the jump. I wanted all the toxins to be out of my system. It was probably the best thing I could have done for myself. And I say that because I'm not in pause. Now, stress does kind of have a deleterious effect on me, such as like this morning. But I have to roll with the punches. That was something that was done in my addiction, and I had to face it. It's uncomfortable. You have to stand up in front of a room full of people, and it's just embarrassing. It is what it is. And because I'd forgotten, of course it stressed me out, but only for a minute. I can't allow stress to rule me. I can't. Not today. I'm out of bondage. I'm not going to place myself back in bondage by worrying about things that I have absolutely no control over. The only thing that I can control is whether or not I choose to pick up another drug, whether or not I choose to drink alcohol, whether or not I choose to take Ativan or Klonopin or any benzodiazepine or even psychotropic medications. Today I recognize the benefit of being natural, of doing everything naturally, of eating foods that are healthy, that aren't loaded down with chemicals. We are organic. We were not designed to have chemicals inside of us all the time. This process for me has taught me that I need to eat healthy, that I need to make sure that I'm getting plenty of exercise. Guys, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But on the 4th, 5th day, you start seeing the light. I kept saying to Jason that I felt like God was poking holes in the floors of heaven, because little by little I was regaining my ability to focus. Little by little I was regaining my ability to feel. In the very beginning I was discouraged. I'm thinking, God, am I going to feel like this forever? You're not. Today I wake up every day and I feel like a new human. Every day I have things to look forward to, and I am so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the peace that I feel. I'm grateful for my ability today for not only forgive other people, but to forgive myself. Guys, we did a lot of terrible things in our addiction. I'm not proud of everything that I did, but if I'm not willing to meet those things head on, if I'm not willing to say, you know what, I screwed up, I made a mistake, and then, deal with it and move on. Who cares? If you hurt somebody, live the apology. That's all you can do. But beating the crap out of yourself is just counterproductive. And it's part of what kept me in my addiction for so long. You walk around hating yourself. I would wake up every morning and talk about the shit pile of a human being that I was. God's given me a different perspective on my life. We all deserve to be happy, but we have to want that happiness. And what are we willing to do in order to obtain that? Guys, I had to stop the subs. The subs were eating my heart out. I couldn't handle it anymore. And it wasn't just the subs, it was the entire lifestyle. It was the anger, the feelings of frustration, feeling pissed off all the time, and not knowing how to just deal with those emotions. I ran away from my emotions. Every chance I got, I ran away from my emotions. I don't want to do that today. But I'm not going to keep myself in bondage by saying, you know what, I screwed up and let me beat the crap out of myself on a daily basis, because that's what people are good at doing. They're good at destructing each other, destructive criticism rather than the constructive. And we have to be constructive. We have to constructively look at our lives and put things really into perspective. Look, guys, you didn't get into it overnight. I didn't get into it overnight. And God knows I'm not going to get out of it. There's a lot of things that I'm going to have to face, a lot of destruction that I'm going to have to face. But today I can face it sober. Today I can face it with strength and courage, and I don't have to feel ashamed, and I don't have to hate myself. I love myself. I'm a good person, and I'm very ineffective if I hate myself. If I love myself and I can understand why. If you can face what you are and all of those dirty little secrets and all of those terrible emotions that are attached to those things, you're free. God, it was God. He freed me. He gave me the ability to look at myself logically instead of in such a subjective, selfish, disgraceful. I hated myself. I feel sorrow for all the people still out there. You know, I pray for you guys every single day. I do. I understand it's a prison. It is such a prison, but you can be freed from that prison. You know, I'm not telling you that you have to believe in God. I'm not telling you have to believe in anything. What I am going to tell you is that it starts with forgiveness, and it starts with understanding, realistic understanding, not in our feelings, but in reality. And how do we live in that reality every day? It's a tough assignment, but it doesn't have to be tough. I actually feel good. You know, my mom was asking me questions today, and I was brutally honest. For the first time in my life, I didn't lie. She could have asked me anything. I wouldn't have lied about it. What's the point? Every time I lie, every time I do something stupid, I keep myself further in bondage. I don't want to lie. I want to face what I am, and that's the only way I'm able to obtain freedom, is by looking at myself, really looking at myself in the mirror, and saying, you know what? I'm not that terrible person I thought I was. I'm a good person. I'm compassionate. I'm kind. And if I focus on all the crappy things I've done, I'm never going to see the person that I can become. I don't want to use my past as a reason to stay in prison. I want to use it as a way to teach others how to break free of that prison. It's a tool, guys. It's a tool. I used it as a weapon, but I've learned that it's a tool. Anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome day. And keep trucking. You'll make it. Take it easy.